welcome to Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness. I'm Les Winston. I'm your host. I am so proud of yesterday's activities for myself. I was very lucky. I was principal for the day at Biscayne Beach Elementary School, and when I got there, they had signs, and they gave me a beautiful certificate of appreciation for me being there. If you can see it, I want to thank Anna Herrera. She's the assistant principal at Biscayne Beach for making that a very memorable day. And I spent the morning. I taught two fifth grade classes. Very interesting experience. Got an opportunity to see the Alpha generation. They're a very important generation. They're going to be in control of the country in a not too distant future, and they're going to be in control of their own destinies. And I wanted them to get a handle on a way to go forward. Would like to see them become economic citizens. And in that vein, I discussed with them, they asked me to pick a word of the day. And so the word that I picked was genius. And I was asking them when I started the lesson, I asked them what the meaning of genius was, and got a lot of different answers. Smart, somebody who's intelligent, somebody who reads, somebody who studies, does a lot of good things. And then I wanted them to think a little bit more about genius in a different term, in a different way, in the sense that they need to think about something they like to do 24 hours a day, never get tired of, and that's their genius. And so I said, is anybody in here do their genius? And what do you do as your genius? Now, these are fifth graders. These are 10-year-olds. And a lot of hands went up. And a lot of them were soccer. They play a lot of soccer at Biscayne Beach Elementary. They have a soccer field there. And the soccer has become more of a sport to them than baseball or football or anything else. So a lot of the kids were into soccer. A couple of them into music, art. Some like to write. Some like to learn. And the teacher chimed in, and the teacher said, teaching. So working at your genius is a very important part of our process of what we're all about with regard to 664 and using 664 to get to your genius. And in fact, what I left them with was the numbers. I said, I want you to remember these numbers, 664, because they're going to be very important numbers in your life, and they need to be important numbers because they will help you get to your genius. They'll help you do what it is that you want to do 24 hours a day, never get tired of. And you're going to have a very good life if you use those numbers, 664. In fact, the teacher took a little video of us where I'm standing in front of the class, and she has everybody go 664. So you'll probably see that on our Spotify web podcasts at some point. Anyway, it was a great day, and it was really nice to meet the future of America and get to know Generation Alpha. I don't get a chance to spend time much with Generation Alpha. My great-grandchildren are in Jerusalem. My grandchildren are spread around, so I don't get to spend a lot of time with the younger generation, Alpha, but it's a very important generation, and we want to help them become very successful. In fact, my co-host, Wanda Miles, has written a book about it, how 664 and social charity saved Generation Alpha and the nation. And Wanda is also a literary specialist. I love to listen to her talk about her spiritual travels, and she's got a marvelous talent for getting the best out of people. So here's an interview that Wanda just did with an author regarding legacy. It's a different way of looking at things.
Welcome to this portion of the show. I'm Wanda Miles, and Les has allowed me to have this little section where we get to talk more about the books, the reading, the philosopher in you. And our guest today, with me today, Carew Papritz. I'm saying that correctly, am
You
I,
got it,
Carew?
Wanda. Thank you.
Also known as the cowboy philosopher. He's the author of the multi-award winning book, The Legacy Letters. It's a life lesson, actually, it's life lessons and a book for all generations. Carew has traveled the globe inspiring kids and adults to rediscover the joy of reading, which is wholly what I'm about, reading and writing and all that good stuff, the things that bring us closer to the pen and paper and what I think to our spiritual selves. And for the love of humanity, which I like to say, all those proceeds for the book go to worthy causes, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Seattle Children's Hospital, Reading is Fundamental, and the Military Mamas Network, which I'd love to find out a little bit more about. Carew offers a unique perspective on creating that meaningful legacy through creativity and philanthropy. Today, we'll talk about that and how our personal values intersect with building charitable and financial legacies. Welcome, Carew Papritz. Now, I'm going to have to ask you, where does that name come? I'm thinking I hear Greek. Am I wrong?
Greek, and you are wrong. No, it's Welsh.
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 So close. So
So
close.
What's 1,000 miles? I don't know. Okay.
Papritz. Oh, that's an interesting name.
And that's German. So it's, the old, it's American, right? So we got
It's all. Was it altered? Not that it matters, but was it altered? Cool.
No, the folks just decided we had a bit of a Welsh heritage. And it actually means castle overlooking water. There's actually a Carew Castle in southern Wales.
Tom Jones.
You look at you. You are good.
I know my Welsh. All right. Sort of, kind of. You are my first Welsh author we've had on the show, I'd love to say. So tell me, what inspired you to merge this whole creativity with philanthropy in your books?
Oh, this is such a lovely question. And you are literally the first person to ever ask it. And it's something that's near and dear to my heart.
Let's go.
So let's really quick talk about the book, because I think
Not too quick.
Understand the essence of it. So it's a series, The Legacy Letters is a series of fictional letters written by a father who had never lived to see his kids. And these letters become their practical, moral, and spiritual guidebook for the rest of their lives. And they decide upon having the book for 40 some odd years. And so they want to share these letters with the world. So they start out with the first 50 letters, of which there are more letters to come, more books and whatnot. But these are, they've come out. And they cover everything, the gamut of, how to take care of horses, how to fall in love, how to keep a marriage, how to think about giving or not giving, smiling, waking up. I mean, it covers the gamut from the practical details to the great philosophical things we think about, love, life, death, and so on, so forth. So very, very fortunate to be able to do many, many book signings across the United States and outside. And that's so much fun for an author to engage with the public and to talk about the book. And, oh my gosh, it's so fun. But I love to be outdoors. So I was thinking, gosh, how do I be outdoors and how do I sign books? And I came up with this idea of signing books and doing these what I call first ever book signings. What's that? Well, they're doing things like signing a book, having an autograph party on top of Mount St. Helens, the volcano in the Pacific Northwest, having a 3-week whistle stop tour along the East Coast from Orlando to Niagara Falls, stopping at 13 cities, doing book signings on river rafts and mountaintops and glaciers in Alaska and so forth. And people go, then they ask, why? And it's just like, oh, I love why. Why not? Because I walk the talk of the central theme of the book, which is living life to the fullest. So to answer your question, finally, all the way around full circle, every single time I would do one of these book signings, I made sure that the proceeds from the book signings, a portion of which would go to whatever, like in Seattle, the Seattle Children's Hospital, or if it was doing something on Veterans Day, I made sure I just feel so, it's really important for me to pay it forward. At any given point, I can do it. And within my realm, this has been fun to do. So I even had a book signing. The first ever book signing was Stomping Grapes at a winery. and I was stomping
Whoa.
grapes and drinking
Lucy,
wine, and
Lucy pops in my head, but how was it?
it was so much fun. I was up to my I was waist deep, stomping grapes, signing books, and the person that
Fantastic.
those proceeds went to the Seattle Children's Hospital, which is near and dear to my heart. So yeah,
Excellent.
really fun to combine both.
Now, are you still doing this tour? Do you just kind of work it in your schedule once once a
Yeah, it's just
summer?
like when ideas pop. I've got like 4 or 5 sort of coming up. But if you go to CarewTube, CAREW it'll take you right to the YouTube page, and you can see these different things we've done over the years, and they're a lot of
Excellent.
fun. But ultimately, like I said, especially with what you're talking about, the philanthropy part is really near and dear to my heart.
Well, what is the impact that the legacy letters have had actually on readers or people telling you I've read it and it it's brought me and my kid closer, or
Yeah,
how has it affected?
I tell you, gosh, Wanda, you're coming up with all the good questions today. So I'll convey a quick story. I was at a book signing at a Barnes and Noble in Northern Arizona, and it was a beautiful day. No one was there, and I was like, and this happens at book signings. And then I put out a big table, and I'm as I think you can tell, I'm relatively shy, not, but so I go out and I grab people in the aisles, I bring them back. And there was this mother and son, and they were walking around. I says, hey, come on over, come on over. And they're like, oh. So they come over, and she goes, okay, what's your book about? And I explain what it was about. And she says, that sounds interesting. I says, oh, you interesting? Let me pull the interesting knife out of my back. And then she
Yeah, it's
laughed.
like
I said, yeah. So I said, I'm going to do something I've never done before in the history of book publishing. I'm going to guarantee this book. She says, how can you guarantee a book? Says, I guarantee if you pick up this book and read the first page, you'll turn to the next page, or I'll give you your money back. And you haven't even bought the book. And she laughed. And so she goes, okay. She picks up the book. And then her son, who's on his cell phone, of course, I hate to say that, but he's on his teenage son. And I said, you too. And I was shocked. So he did the same thing. So she picks up the book, page. And she says, I'll take 2. I go, what? He says, oh my gosh. So I was stunned. And she goes over to pay for them, bring them back, I'll sign them. And then the kid keeps reading the book. And I said, I got to interrupt you. This is really something. I said, but I appreciate you reading the book. I didn't think you'd read it. I says, why are you reading it? And he turns to me and he says, I don't have a father. I wish the guy in this book was my dad. And I just I welled up. I couldn't believe it. And that's the type of response we get over and over and over when people read the book. It seems to, the pages seem to find something. I mean, that's any good book, right? It speaks to the person, but gosh, the number of ways that it has spoken to different readers over and over. And at a certain point, I'm not the author anymore. I'm the messenger to my own book. I mean, I find it stunning.
that's fantastic. I've recently written a couple books, and what I loved about the experience was just feeling like it with the catharticism. Am I saying that right? The of the power of just getting the word out of me, and I just feel like you're just getting a message out, and then you're done with it. You're like, whew, unloaded.
Yeah, I like that.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And I think the more honest you are as a writer, the more authentic the words are, and the more people respond in that way. I almost call it being naked in front of people. It
Yeah,
really is that
it can
powerful.
be.
Yeah.
It's nice to run naked through the woods. So you were saying that you had this thank you letters thing that you've been working on. Tell me about that a little bit more.
Ooh, this is a fun one. Well, guess what? We're coming up on the month of thanks, aren't we?
Aren't
Thanksgiving.
we? My
Wow,
favorite holiday.
this is really fun. So this little guy right here, I'm gonna show it off. That's the legacy letter. So I love promoting reading, as you can tell. I love promoting handwriting. So I'm in our local little community school, rural school, teaching some handwriting classes. And I'm up there on the board, and I literally, one of the letters from the book is how to say please and thank you. The father wants to talk about that, right? So And I'm putting it up there on the board and writing, and I'm looking back, and the kids are doing their best to stay awake, but I get it, like end of the day, they're like, oh. And all of a sudden this idea popped into my head like it usually does with these guys. And I say, hey, what do you guys think about making a giant handwritten thank you letter the size of a football field? And they're like, oh, Mr. Papritz, oh, and they're all excited. And I was like, yeah, really, you just said that, and they know I'll do that because we've done other things, not somewhat similar, but in that kind. Well, we did it. We created, not the size of a football field, we end up creating the world's largest handwritten thank you letter, the size of a high school basketball gym. And that was in 2018. Took over.
It was good 30... that you kept it indoors.
Yeah. Trust me, being in Arizona,
weather.
being indoors, oh my gosh, it took 2.5 months to make 30 rolls of butcher paper, 1,000 rolls of tape, like 75 pizzas, 1,000 cookies. Yeah, of course, you got to get it all kids. So we put it together. And I'll tell you, Wanda, there's a really funny part. So when you see, and for all you listening, you go to nationalthankyouletterday.com and you can see the whole thing. And I thought I could write out this letter in my head. So I wrote out this letter trying to be 10 years old. And I read it out to myself and I said, this is the lamest 10-year-old thank you letter on the planet. It just sounds like a 39-year-old trying to be So I went to the kids and I said, hey, I need your help. I need you to write thank you letters, things that you really, want to do. So they went home, they wrote that, it came back, and I took sections of that, and that's what's in the letter. So it really sounds like kids, and it's really cool. So on November 14th, which is now National Thank You Letter Day, yeehaw, on 2018, the entire school signed it. We had local press, all this stuff, and had a great time. The entire school signs and whatnot. And then what do you do with the world's largest thank you letter? Well, you have to send it. Next year, we sent it in the world's largest envelope with the world's largest stamp. Boom, put it through the U.S. Postal Service. It was actually delivered to our sister school. From that, and from that day or previous to that, we had started National Thank You Letter Day. We got a Guinness World Record. We got a Kelly Clarkson show, and we have had a blast promoting this every single year. And talk about not just the fun of that giant letter and all whatnot, but it's like, well, why are you doing this? We're back to the why and the gratitude and writing thank you letters. People go, oh, that's old fashioned. I go, being thankful is timeless. And I'll tell you what, here's the cool part. You talk about writing, you talk about penmanship. When you write, and people say, well, why should I handwrite something? Because guess what? The secret is the time you take that you put into that, that's the gift you give to someone else, the gift of your time on a piece of paper. And why do they they hold that? I mean, when you run out of a house, if there's a fire, you grab your letters, you grab your pictures, well, you grab your kids and your dogs and cats and stuff. But yeah, those are valuable. They represent so much history and so much beauty and so much gratitude. So I just think it's fun doing this. It's fun promoting gratitude.
I'll talk about the mental health aspect because I know you're hip to that.
Yeah. So there's the fountain of youth and there's the fountain of happiness. The fountain of happiness is when you consciously practice gratitude. Well, it reduces stress and anxiety, right? Just put a smile on your face.
True
Tell
story.
me that doesn't work, right? And what's wild is there's like a 10% increase. This is what the studies have shown, but I think so.
It's true.
10% increase in happiness and a 35% reduction in depressive thoughts. That's cool.
Yeah.
Practicing gratitude is like an armor. It protects you from depression and anxiety and even substance abuse. I think practicing gratitude is part of celebrating life and your emotional well-being. So I think it's not just your emotional, it's financial and social and spiritual. It just covers the gamut. It is such a, like I said, a fountain of youth or the fountain of happiness.
And the cool thing, I think, is when you write,
Yeah.
you're working the brain and all those systems, and you're bringing stuff that you haven't thought of for a while. You're bringing it to the surface, and writing brings it to the surface, and you have new thoughts, or thoughts you hadn't thought of in a while that bring you joy. Just, it's so easy to get sucked into all the negative thoughts. It's so easy to think bad thoughts and dump on ourselves. But if you can just, it's just as easy to concoct and think a happy thought, or a thought that makes you feel good and want to do better in the world and be better and just feel better. Just simply a desire to feel better. They say it's a choice. So I think that's why I think putting pen to paper, journaling is great for your mental health. And the gratitude aspect of it is huge. So how's the thank you letters going, and how's thank you? That's on the 14th?
On the 14th. And so we've actually spread it out to be National Thank You Letter Month. And it's really cool. So again, if you go to nationalthankyouletterday.com, we actually have a download for teachers and parents, and it goes through, it's a really nice little resource guide. And you can look through all the different ways you can approach this with your kids. And again, what's cool is like, well, it's not just kids. Adults are like, oh, we can do this again. Yeah, because you want to walk your talk. You know, people say, oh, you should do this. Sit down and write a thank you letter. Let's say, it doesn't have to be for a gift. It doesn't have to be transactional. It can be, one of the things I love to talk about is thanking somebody in our lives who has done something for us, maybe in the past, a teacher, a community member, a family member. And it doesn't have to be this big, long, I mean, sometimes it just gets going. But what if you wrote, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 sentences? You know, I was thinking of you the other day. I just wanted to tell you thank you for all that you did, boom, boom, boom. Oh my gosh, you are sending such a powerful message of gratitude, not only for yourself, but then someone gets to open that gift. Oh, wow. How cool is that? We've got Veterans Day coming up. Writing to a veteran, writing to soldiers. That's the Military Mama Network. And that's what I was involved with years ago. Actually, we sent out books and we sent out letters inside them.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, really, I mean, to say thank you. Anytime we can promote that, that's great. And especially for our kids, we walk that talk, show them what this is. Because if we don't show them, how are they going to learn? And I think that's the primary thing right there. If we can't, so sit down and write that letter and say, hey, what are you doing, Mom? And I know you're like, no, I want to be on my phone. No, we're going to write a thank you letter, Grandma and Grandpa. We're going to write a thank you. Why should I do that? Aha, why should we do that? And then it becomes a habit. And now my son actually will write a thank you letter without, prodding him 20 times over. So I'm down to 5 times. So.
And quite honestly, these days, your grandparents will appreciate it way more than they would have 20 years ago. So if you just write something to your grandparents or anyone over 50, they, I think, would really just appreciate the time and the effort that it took to do that. And, you look pretty cool.
I think so. And talk about, and then not only do you look cool, you feel cool. Someone call, and then they'll call you back. Oh my God, I got to thank you. Oh, they're so excited. My God, just from 15 minutes? That's it. It's really not that hard.
Excellent. November 14th. And
November 14th. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, here's something that we're doing right now. With the election going on and all the stuff that's getting churned up.
What's this going on? Oh.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, what's this going on? I think we need to take a little time out, go outside, look at the clouds, listen to the birds, do something in nature. And then maybe on top of that, a little cherry on top of the front, write a thank you note to somebody. Oh my gosh. Brings down the temperature inside yourself, inside of others. They get this thank you letter. It's not political. It's about love. It's about gratitude. It's about giving to the world and giving to others. And I tell you, that giving, man, that's the best. That's happy medicine.
And it is about putting down our arms for a day or two.
Yeah, I like that, Monda. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate this timing. Serendipity timing is perfect. And I'm glad I caught you this thank you. We should always be thankful, but this time of year particularly, it's always great to be reminded. We talk about the need for financial literacy here on Route 664, but it's also important to talk about the writing and the reading literacy that we kind of lose
I love
track
that.
of.
As part of it, like you said, even part of financial, we talk about legacy, the financial legacy, and what you leave behind and how you live your life and whatnot. And I think too, that's a major component of how we not just giving and philanthropy, but the why and the how of it, right? I mean, that's almost essential to how we overall conduct our lives, sort of the character of our lives.
And
I
it's
think,
it's leaving something for hopefully for the world to appreciate you. I mean, I don't have kids, so I figured I'd write a book and leave some thoughts behind. And
I like that.
if I
Good
can
for
do that,
you.
that'll be my lasting legacy. Hopefully,
I
and
love
some
it.
other stuff. Learning to play piano. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and then doing this, bringing people together.
Conversations, yeah.
Conversations, yeah.
Yeah, I love good, long-lasting conversations, especially when we can throw them up on the YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I thank you so much for making the time for me today, Carew, and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving. And remember, everybody, National Thank You Letterday.com. It's a long one, but take a look at it. Super fun. Get to see
It's a click away.
You get to see the giant letter on the football field with the kids around it and this drone shot. It's a lot of fun. So
is that the website we're pushing?
Yep, yeah, we'll do that. Yep.
All right, cool. We'll put it up on below and all that other good stuff. They'll find you.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks so much. And you have a happy day.
Happy day to you, Wanda. Take care, all.
Serendipity.
Hey, it's National Thank You Month.
Yeah, it is, exactly. And then we got National Giving Day. National Giving Day is the 15th, I think, of November.
That's National Philanthropy Day, too.
National Philanthropy Day, right. And then tomorrow I'll be at Jungle Island with the AFP, the Association of Fundraising Professionals. They're going to have their Philanthropy Day celebration. They'll be talking about some great philanthropists in Miami.
Can anybody show up?
Until I think tickets are still on sale until 12 o'clock today, so there's not much time left.
Oh boy!
But I will be there, and we'll be looking for the philanthropists, the people that are the great givers of the world. Those are the ones that are most in gratitude to the things that they've gotten.
Where is that?
It's going to be at Jungle Island.
Jungle Island.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So. Yesterday, I was talking about it earlier before you came on. I was at the Biscayne Beach Elementary School, being the principal for the day.
Boy! And
one of the things that he was talking about was a touching incident. There was one yesterday as well. Sometimes you get caught up in your discussion and you're thinking ahead of what you're going to say, and I didn't have any prepared remarks. I can speak like this all the time because what I like to do 24 hours a day is my genius.
That's what he does.
So
he ain't lying.
Yeah. So I was asking questions and I was trying to draw the kids out. We were talking about change because they're in the 5th grade. They're going to go into the 6th grade, which is getting ready to move into the middle school. And
I remember.
Yeah,
sort of,
and kind of a interesting age.
It is.
And kids were very responsive and very polite. And at the end of the session,
sponges they are at that age.
Yeah, and at the end of the session, a girl comes up and she's crying, and the teacher said to her, "Why are you crying?" She says, "He reminds me of my grandfather who just passed away." And that was really touching, yeah. So it's an emotional thing for me to think about it right now too, because it's touching when you get to the heart of the kids. Yeah. So anyway, we, you and I are doing a lot of things to stimulate 664.
Yep. As much
I gave
as
it to the kids yesterday.
That's good.
I told them 664 is the number, and then
plant that seed.
Yeah, and we've got the little video where the kids go 664, yelling. So we put that. Yeah, we can show that.
Great. Love that.
I did want to talk about, this is the end of the year. The reason why Philanthropy Day comes up at this time of the year, or philanthropy, being aware of philanthropy, is because at the end of the year is when you should be doing your tax planning. and philanthropy planning. The year-end tax strategies are very important, and you're running out of time. If you have something that you want to do now to save on taxes for this year, for 2024, you need to do it before December 31st, and you can do a lot of different things. You can use a donor-advised fund, you can use a charitable gift annuity, you can use a charitable remainder trust, you can use a pooled income fund, you can use charitable lead trust. All of those devices are ways for you to reduce your taxes, increase your income, and get benefits from using charity in a way that's really powerful. And it's doing a wonderful thing for the world. Yeah, and it's
gift season.
Changing your thought pattern, making your gratitude come to the foreground, and that's an important issue.
Mindset.
Right.
It's all about the mindset.
Want to make you healthy. You'll be healthy and wise and
happy.
And you'll have a lot more to live on, and you'll be a happy
Give me
camper.
some of that happiness.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of other things we've been doing. Of course, we want to direct you to Spotify and Instagram and watch the podcast there, and be sure to subscribe because you don't want to miss an episode. We're going to be doing the Funny Money and
radio station is route664.org. Check it out.
Don't forget.